Good morning or afternoon or evening, whatever it happens to be where you are. I just want to thank all of the attendees to the Right Women Book Fest 2021 who are watching this and attending both virtually and in person. My topic is building a brand as an author. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, but not take up too much of your time. I am on my third book. I'm a nonfiction author. I've written a book about a segregated beach in Atlantic City called Chicken Bone Beach. I've also written Golden Beauty Boss. It's a biography of an African American woman who became a millionaire in the 1940s, also living in the same community as the beach. Just recently in June, I released a children's version of Chicken Bone Beach called The Story of Chicken Bone Beach. And I also wrote a couple of essays for a book on the pandemic put out by my publishing company, Sunbury Press. So let's start with what is a brand? Because I think a lot of people hear this word and maybe assume different things. A brand defines who you are and everything that stands for you as the writer. It's how you're perceived by others, by out there in the world at large, not just in the writing community, but everywhere. You're visible, in particular, digitally. Everything you've written, it represents you because it is a part of your author platform. Whether you realize you had an author platform or not, whatever you've written, that begins the platform. Platform could change, like it does for many writers, but you have a platform. And most importantly, it is really important and actually vital to your career as an author to control the narrative about your brand. You don't want anyone to define that for you. You want to know who you are. You want to be perceived as you dream this dream of being an artist, being a writer. How do you go about building an author brand? I'm going to give you 5 ways to go about it. And when I say 5, that doesn't mean 5 quick ways to succeed, but where you begin to focus in wherever you are in your steps as an author, whether you're seasoned and you got 20 books out, or you're an emerging artist, and especially if you're still writing something and that has yet to be published, in particularly, you have the ability to begin shaping it right from the rawest form, which is what I personally try to do with my first book. All right, so let's start with number 1. Number 1, know your audience. Who's reading your books? Do you know anything about the people who are buying your books? Because that type of information is something you should really focus on collecting. And there are many ways to go about it that don't cost you anything, really. If you've already begun to form a presence on social media, then there's data being gathered. For example, if you're on Instagram, there's something as simple as how many likes or how many followers, but you can actually, if you're set up as a business account, like on Facebook, you can see a lot of different demographics about the type of people that like the work you're doing. And that's important to know because that begins to help you shape how you target all the rest of those sci-fi lovers or stay-at-home moms or whomever the type of audience is that is gravitating towards reading your books. Let's see what else. And what do you want to represent? Is a part of it too as you begin to add to those demographics. Secondly, who's most likely to purchase your product? Because the more you understand who that is, the more you understand and find a way to relate to them as customers and retain them. I mean, once you find out that, for example, half the people following you are all single dads, then begin to tweet and discuss issues and relevant and current topics around what it takes to be a single dad. You get in the picture of how important it is to know who's reading your book and how to get them to commune with you constantly and look forward to what you have to say and what your next piece of literary work will be. Number 2, decide on your literary voice. This is an inside job because it's going to be different for everyone based on why they decided to become writers to begin with. And it is reflected in your own narrative. So it can't be, this voice can't be about anybody but how you see yourself as a writer, how you imagine your career path going. For example, let me just think of somebody, an author I like. I love Maya Angelou. And when I think of what she represents, I think of right away truth, very unfiltered and honest. I think wisdom. In a lot of her stories, she's helped us learn how to be resilient, how to own our truths, how to accept ourselves. That's her voice, whether she intentionally set it that way or not. But that's how we as audiences have began to see her through her path, really. So it's important to know why are you writing and what are you really trying to say uniquely to the world. Number 3, developing a literary niche. Is there a unique niche that you feel in the publishing industry? What makes you stand out from all the other authors in your genre? These are questions you should ask yourself. This will require some research because you will have to find out what people are reading these days and why they're reading what they're reading and what will they be reading 10 years from now, maybe in your case. You want to find out what specifically is trending in a certain area. For example, Black Lives Matter, or Asian Lives Matter, or clean air, climate change. You know, what are people writing about? Is it relevant to today's current situations? What's going on in the world around, and does your literary voice fit in? More importantly, stand out. I'll use myself as an example. I wrote a thesis that got published. I mean, I had to do some additional writing and research, but it was the opposite. I didn't choose a voice and then sell a book, or maybe I didn't realize it. But once I was published, I said, I'm going to intentionally be the voice of untold history in America, or undertold history in America. I didn't choose a topic, but I chose a genre where I felt like a broad enough audience has not yet heard, this. So that was the voice I decided to take once I wrote the first book. All right, number 4, set expectations for your audience. And this is what I mean about, don't just post all willy-nilly, but very intentionally. Why are you having the type of conversations about your books, or are you having conversations about your books anyway? I mean, it's okay to let people know what you have going on and what you were thinking and what you're doing this weekend, but okay, little technical difficulty, but I am back and on bullet number 4, setting expectations for your audience. So I was just giving you like a example. And so what you want to do is you want to communicate very broadly and in very simple terms what you plan to deliver to your readers, to your followers. Make quality a priority in that. There's a variety of ways to put your own spin on how you will communicate what you will deliver. And it bears repeating often. Like I use like big name brands like let me think of somebody. GE, General Electric. We bring good things to light. It's simple. It's a few words. It's their big overall mission, what they intend to do. They let us know, and they've let us know that for decades. That's the promise they plan to keep to us. They didn't say we're going to give you the best light bulbs ever. They didn't say that because they're visionaries. Hopefully, if they plan to stay in the private sector and capitalism, they should be very visionary about what they intend to do. So a very broad promise makes sense. But it doesn't have to be along that broad of a spectrum. But what are your intentions? What do you plan to bring to the readers every time there's a book? All right. Let your readers know if you write in more than one genre, and that's okay. But let them know that you do write fiction, but you also have written a memoir. You do nonfiction as well. You ought to be able to say to yourself, my readers expect me to fill in the blanks, because that's what you continue to communicate to your customers over and over again. Over and over again. Use the same tweet. It's okay. Say the exact same promise, and that's acceptable. My readers expect me to share untold history, untold stories, and that's what I plan to do. All right, number 5, brand the brand. If this industry is a potential career choice for you, you need long-term goals. They're critical. If you just are thinking about that one book you wrote because you've been staring at grandma's letters to her mother and then her mother for so many years, and you finally, Eureka, you finally put that book out after staring at those boxes. Well, and you don't really ever plan on writing again, it's okay. I hope you still enjoyed learning about branding if you're very short term in your goals, but if you especially want to stick around and build a career in the publishing industry, then you do need long-term goals, and you need to devise plans which include a certain amount of books over a period of time. You need to start to begin to, even if you're an emerging author, you can create a website. And there's ways to do it free until you're ready to take a bigger step and make more of a financial commitment. You can go to places like Wix. And many of those type of services, outsourcing your marketing in different ways, they offer plans. On Instagram, you can promote a post, and you can set the bar. You got $20 this week, you spend $20 promoting your new book. You got 500, you do it that. Do you do it weekly? Do you do it daily? Do you do it monthly? You have all these options. So, budget for what. Yes, you do want to develop a website. It's not too early for that at any stage, or not too late, even if you have a large volume of books that's out in the market. The key to branding really and truly is to be consistent in everything you present as an author. Your logo, your colors, your font, what you say on every social media account, they all speak to your brand. So choose all of these items very lovingly, very, very thoughtfully, very carefully. I'm also going to be posting along with this, and hopefully you'll see it by the time I finish, where you can get more information and where you can follow me. I'm on pretty much every social media platform out there at Cheryl W. Brooks. My website is CherylWbrooksAuthor.com. I blog on Medium, which is linked to my website, and I hope you've got some helpful hints from what I told you about branding yourself as an author, and will apply some of those to-dos in your everyday profession. And I thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you have acquired an enormous wealth of information as a part of participating in the Right Women Book Fest. Thank you so much.